All right, let's talk about one of the most famous figures in all of literature, Merlin. But we're about to dive into an origin story that has nothing to do with benevolent magic and everything to do with a demonic plot. When you hear the name Merlin, this is probably what pops into your head, right? The wise old man with a long gray beard, King Arthur's mentor, the magical genius who helped build this legendary golden age. He is the wizard. And here's where the story takes a wild and honestly a pretty terrifying turn. If you look at some of the really early texts, like the 15th century prophecies of Merlin, you find an origin story that isn't about wisdom at all. It's about a plot to create a dark prophet, a direct challenger to Christ. So our story doesn't start in some enchanted forest. No, it starts with a full-blown demonic conspiracy, a meticulously crafted plan born in the depths of hell to forge a weapon that would bring the world of humanity to its knees. The key to this whole sinister operation was a very specific kind of demon, an incubus. According to the old legends, this entity was sent out from the shadows with one and only one mission: to father a half-human, half-demon child who would act as their agent in our world. And this was no random attack. The plan was incredibly specific. First, they chose a woman of incredible virtue. Some stories even say she was a nun. They believed her purity would act as a kind of camouflage for the child's dark nature. The goal? To create a being who would be born with all the demonic knowledge of the past, a prophet for chaos. And the ultimate weapon, the endgame, was to create a living, breathing Antichrist. And, sure enough, when the baby is born, the signs are all there. This is not a normal child. He's described as being covered in hair, and, get this, he can speak like a full-grown man from the moment he's born. He is very clearly marked as something other, a true demon seed. But here's the thing about diabolical master plans. They're not always foolproof. In fact, a single act of faith was about to throw a wrench in the entire demonic machine and change the course of history. His mother, absolutely terrified of what her son was destined to become, doesn't abandon him. No, she does the exact opposite. She finds a holy man, a priest named Blaise, and has the infant Merlin baptized immediately. This one decision is the pivot point for the entire Arthurian legend. You can almost think of what happened next as a kind of spiritual override. The baptism basically wiped his evil purpose clean. It's like the demonic software got overwritten, but it couldn't change his fundamental nature. The supernatural hardware, all that inherited power, was still there. This creates the incredible paradox that is Merlin. He's left with this amazing and frankly bizarre combination of powers. From his incubus father, he keeps the innate knowledge of everything that has ever happened. But then, as a gift for his mother's incredible faith, God grants him the power to see the future. So now he's a channel for both demonic and divine insight. So Merlin isn't just a wizard. He's a walking contradiction. He's wielding this unique hybrid power. And it's this very duality that allows him to become the legend who shapes an entire nation's destiny. And to really get that, you gotta see how his story was actually pieced together. See, the Merlin we know and love is actually a brilliant piece of literary engineering. Back in the 12th century, a writer named Geoffrey of Monmouth basically took two completely separate historical figures and mashed them together. He took Myrddin Wyllt, a Welsh prophet who went mad and lived in the woods, and he blended his story with Ambrosius Aurelianus, a war hero whose legend already included that famous story of a fatherless boy. And the powers this new Merlin had, they went way beyond just telling the future. He was a master shapeshifter, an incredible illusionist. I mean, he's the one who disguised King Uther so Arthur could be conceived. And he was even a magical engineer, the guy credited with moving the giant stones of Stonehenge all the way from Ireland. But his big public debut is what really cemented his reputation. A tyrant king named Vortigern is trying to build a tower, but it keeps falling down. A young Merlin is brought in, and he just shuts down all the king's advisors by revealing the real problem. There are two giant dragons fighting in a lake under the foundation. Now, this wasn't just some cool monster story. The dragons were symbols. The red one represented the Britons, and the white one represented the invading Saxons. By explaining their fight, Merlin laid out the future of the entire kingdom. This is the exact moment he goes from being this weird demon kid to a national prophet. And all that power, all that knowledge, it's all building towards his most famous job title, the Kingmaker. From orchestrating Arthur's birth to setting up the whole sword and the stone test, Merlin uses every ounce of his strange, sometimes dark, power to create a king and build Camelot. So when you put this all together, the demonic birth, the divine gifts, the world-shaping power, how does that change how we see Merlin? Well, it shows us he's not just a simple hero. He's something way more complex and way more modern. This duality pretty much makes Merlin one of the first true anti-heroes in literature. Think about it. He wasn't born good. He was literally born to be evil. So every single good thing he does is a conscious choice, a constant battle against the darkness that's literally written into his DNA. He is the ultimate symbol of that struggle between fate and free will. People call him the Holy Devil because he's this living bridge between the old world of chaotic primal magic and the new, structured Christian morality of King Arthur's kingdom. He's a walking internal conflict. There's a line from a play called The Merlin Chronicle that just sums it up perfectly. He was born from a demonic plan to bring darkness to the world, and yet he's the one who ended up lighting the flame of Camelot. It's the ultimate paradox. And that really leaves us with one final, huge question. The entire legend of Merlin, from his dark conception to his service to the light, forces us to ask, is who we are defined by where we come from or by the choices we make?